Okay, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye coming to again with a brand new video. And this is going to be a first. I'm doing a movie review. It'll be my first spoiler review, and it'll be my first review that I'm doing with somebody, and just a big of a film buff. And Robby Richmond's decided to join me. So, Robby, say hello to the people.
Hello, people. I have no idea how many of us is going to be doing this, but someone's going to watch this once it goes.
The ghosts of YouTube will watch
Ghosts of YouTube will find this and they'll go, "Oh, they talked a lot of sense." In about 2 years' time, when everything we predict comes true, they're going to be like, "Wow, those guys knew their shit."
So, I guess it's responsible of me to say straight from the outset, if you've not seen this film and you do not want it to be spoilt for you, go away in 5, 4, 3, 2. So Iron Man died.
Yeah. If you, there will be some people that will watch this video, obviously Guna fans, and I'm always quite happy to follow people back. I don't really care what team you support or anything. The only issue is whether or not I can remember to go and check whether or not I've got new followers. But that's the problem. Last Sunday, I retweeted a Twitter thread that I did about 10 months ago, way before any of the first trailers came out, where I predicted, and obviously it came true, that they were going to kill off Tony Stark.
It kind of makes sense for his arc, especially when you go all the way back to the first Avengers, where Steve Rogers was talking about, him putting himself on the line. And I guess people just assumed, oh, well, he did technically try and do that at the end of the movie. But no, it makes more sense for him to die because Tony Stark never rested. He always predicted the threat of Thanos. So it was right for him to be the one to finish Thanos and at the expense of his life.
Yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of duality between Thanos and Tony Stark generally. And what's always been really good about these films, in my opinion, is the relationship between Cap and Tony, which has always been fractious. Yeah. Because this is why Civil War is such a good film and it's really sort of underestimated. Cap is a manifestation of Tony's father. Because every time he sees Cap, he sees his father. He sees all the memories and all the rigmarole. Now, obviously, in this film, all those things are put to bed. But in the meantime, Tony's character arc has been large growth, huge growth, really, but more often than not, also at huge cost. So there's a scene when in Civil War where they're sitting around and they're reading the accords and whether or not they're going to agree to them and sign them. And Vision, who, along with Peter Parker and along with Harley, who we saw at the funeral,
which a lot of people were like, "Who's that?"
Yeah, exactly. If you're not on the regular, if you're a cash, you'll be like, "Who the fuck's that lanky prick?" But they are like surrogate sons to Tony anyway, those three characters. But Vision says that there is a causality, and he says since Tony decided to announce himself as Iron Man, the amount of high-level threats that the Earth has faced has grown exponentially. So what Vision is basically saying is that Tony is the cause, but also the answer to all of the problems. So he has to die because it's all about the sacrifice. If you, again, in comparison to Thanos is willing to let all of his children, the children of Thanos, die, and he's just driven as a character. He's just so driven by what he sees to be the quest for peace.
Well, they're both futurists, aren't they? As well, they both predicted almost each other's fates in a way, and
because they are the yin and the yang of the MCU at this juncture. So if we're going to rip it up and start again, we need a new yin and we need a new yang. So it's really interesting. I mean, like, if you watch Black Panther, you see that T'Challa.
T'Challa.
King T'Challa, thank you. Excuse me. King T'Challa and Tony Stark are basically the same person. The only thing that they have different is that it's the way that their parents cared for them.
Yeah.
So King T'Challa has a very doting father who loves him and tells him how proud he is of him. Whereas Tony has always gone on a search of trying to find that love and respect and pride from his father. Tony is a king in his own way. He's a king of industry. They haven't even done that yet with Black Panther. You know, okay, it's a comic book thing, but we know that it's a case that they will do it eventually. That T'Challa's a clever motherfucker. It's not just Shuri. T'Challa's equally, you know, upstairs is an amazing mind and very well educated and knows what he wants to do and creative as well. But they haven't done that yet. But that's where we're going to go over the course of like the next 3 or 4 years, isn't it? So
yeah, and I think that was the thing. I mean, I suppose we'll go into the movie, but I think that for me was a really nice touch. The whole, you know, before they and I kind of figured out at that point, is when at the time
we just have to mute you 1 second.
Okay, no worries. And I think at the time the most interesting thing was when Tony and his father in the movie had a moment where they both were just getting to know each other just as normal people. And of course, at the time, they would have been very similar ages. So it was a really nice kind of moment for them both to have. And just you could see, I thought Robby Downey Jr., by the way, his performance was excellent. I thought the way he managed that little scene with his dad and how you could see how in awe of him he was. I thought he played that brilliantly.
Here's one for you then. Here's one, Chiggy. This is one for the chat room. This is for the one that the folks that are going to watch it later on, right? So last year, Black Panther was nominated for an Oscar, right? That was Marvel and Disney just dipping their toes in, right? Now, for the things that it won, it thoroughly deserved because its production values and its editing and its sound work was fucking phenomenal. Do not be surprised if Robert Downey Jr., I'm not saying he's going to win, but do not be surprised if Robert Downey Jr. is nominated for an Oscar for Best Performance.
Oh, I would love that. I would love that.
Because if I want to say Heath Slater, it's not that, is it? The chap that played the Joker, what was he called? Heath
Ledger.
Heath Ledger, thank you. If he got an Oscar nomination and won it, you know, honestly, think back to things like the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah,
they got loads of Oscar nominations, but they didn't win anything until they got to the third film. It was not great. So think on that's probably one of the things that's quite likely to happen is that, and it's Disney, the way that Oscars nominations and things work is they will throw an enormous amount of money at it to try and build a campaign. You might see Chris Evans get Oscar nominated as well.
Oh, well, that was what I was going to say. To be honest, I thought the original 6 stole the show acting-wise.
Yeah, the film. Let's be fair. Like now, there's been an accusation online over the last 2 days that I don't really agree with. That the second act of the film, where they're trying to set up and they're going and getting all the stones, is very much what cynical people like myself and people that are even more cynical than me. Yes, internet, they do exist. I know, right? But the second act essentially is very much fan service. There's lots of things where it's like they're winking at there's all these callbacks and they're winking at the camera for you, and there's all sorts of these things. And yeah, they are there, right? But because it's the end of this era and they're tidying everything up, if they didn't put those things in there, people would be pissy as fuck.
Yeah, true.
So what do you want? You can have cake, or you can have no cake. But you can see that the cake's over there, but you're just not allowed it. Why? Can we have cake, please? I don't even like cake, but cake, yeah. I'll just stick the ice in. It's good.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I mean, let's break down this film. So from the start, this was Hawkeye's moment, because to be fair to Hawkeye, he's not really had. All of them have had big moments in the movie. I really like what the Russos have done with Black Widow's character. And
yeah, you said that last night, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think Cap. I think Cap Winter Soldier was. Oh, I'm still
it's one of my favorite. Yeah, yeah.
And I thought Cap's had his moment. Iron Man has obviously had his moment, but Hawkeye's the only one out of the original 6 that hasn't really until this film. I thought he played it brilliantly, and I thought the scenes he had, I thought he would have more scenes, to be fair. But I thought with the little things that he had, he didn't overdo it. Jeremy Renner, I thought, played it to a T. From you could see the anguish that he had when he realized that his whole family had disappeared, to the pain that he was suffering by the time Black Widow found him. And I thought it really, even I was like flipping heck when the first time I saw it was when they got the Soul Stone. And it just occurred to me that, oh shit, one of these two is going to have to die if they're going to get the stone. Yeah. And then, that little kind of back and forth that they had, where he was saying, "Listen, just tell my family I love them," and they were having that little back and forth. And that moment, I'm not going to lie, I'm not a crier during movies. Even I was like, "Fuck."
No, you got dusty, man. No, I was the same with you. I sat there watching it with my friend, and they went, Widow and Hawkeye are going to Varmir, and I just literally just grabbed him on the thigh as hard as I could, and just went, "Oh fuck!" really quite loudly in a cinema full of people, and I'm, oh god, I'm like, oh fuck. And so here's the thing: I agree with everything you said. There's a great thing with Hawkeye that you're right that he hasn't really been in it, but what he and Ant-Man both did was they make it more real for the audience. That you go, this could be you. These are two guys that aren't particularly superheroes, but they're ordinary men put in extraordinary situations through chance and fortune. But they know exactly what it is that they've lost, and they know exactly what it is that they're fighting for. The other really interesting thing was, and I'm a huge fan of Paul Rudd, I absolutely love the Ant-Man movies, but Paul Rudd can't bring himself to say, or rather the character Scott Lang can't bring himself to say that he loved Hope and that he wants to bring her back. Now, that's great. That's something for later on. That's something for Ant-Man 3.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love Paul Rudd. I was saying to the guys when we watched the film the other night, I said, Paul Rudd is a 50-year-old man playing a 35-year-old man who behaves like a 17-year-old boy. He is,
but doesn't look
so
good. 35. Fair play to him. He's on that Tom Cruise diet.
Mate, like myself, darling. Moisturize. Get on your moisturizing game early. You too can look as fabulous as I do at 41. Hey, look.
Oh,
get on it. There's no excuses, baby. Anyway, so that's good. The thing with Hawkeye is, like you said, he wasn't in it much. You have to remember, it wasn't really very well publicized, but he broke both his arms on set.
Oh, yes,
he broke both forearms.
He did it on the set of Tag, didn't he?
Yeah. So a lot of it, they had to amend his shooting schedule around it. See, so that's why. But I've always, I like Hawkeye. They've done it differently from the comic books and from some of the television cartoon stuff, where he's a joker and a real prankster, and they haven't really done that in the movies. They've made him a much more sort of serious and honest man. As I said, like they've tried to retain that he's just an ordinary man with a skill set, of course, that we all know. But he's surrounded by gods and heroes, and he's supposed to be representative of like you and me. That the average Joe would be willing to stand up and fight for what they believe in.
What do you think of the Hulk character and what they did there?
Very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting because
they kind of just skipped to it and was like, yeah, he's Professor Hulk now.
it's just Professor Hulk now.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I'm a massive Hulk fan, so I think that by and large, since Avengers, every time he's appeared on screen, he's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Particularly in Ragnarok, where it was just spot on.
Yeah.
But this was a new and different Hulk.
Yeah.
And in comparison to the other iterations of the Hulk that's in the comic books and stuff like that, he's actually quite a weak Hulk.
Okay.
If it's Savage Hulk like we've seen in the first kind of films, or even World War Hulk that we saw in Ragnarok, those are hugely powerful. It also seems like the payoff, considering what they did in the last film in Infinity War, it seems like a bit of a shit payoff that they've just kind of away with two or three lines of dialogue, that they've made such a point of Hulk not being. And I understand why they did it, because if you're a casual film goer, you've never seen many of these films, you don't really know who Thanos is. If you're watching that film and the first two things he does is beat the living shit into the Hulk and snap Loki's neck, then you're going to realize that Thanos is a bad motor scooter.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah? So that's kind of the thing. But there's a book called The Art of the Avengers that's coming out next week. And some bits and pieces of it have leaked previously, including, we'll come on to it, Captain America and Mjolnir. But one of the things that came out of it from the art that they'd done was that Hulk was supposed to rip out of the Hulkbuster uniform and fly out and come to the rescue near the end. And obviously they've gone a different way with it, but like it just looked like such an amazing image. And like I just sort of imagined it as if to say, like, he's coming out of it, he's running towards Thanos, he decides that this is it, he's going to take him on, and he rips out of the Hulkbuster suit, and Thor throws the Stormbreaker to him, and he just grabs it and just lops his arm off. Because, as we know, they love to lop arms off. Ever since all of Phase 2? In every film in Phase 2, somebody has their arm lopped off, and that's in homage to Empire Strikes Back. And then in Phase 3, loads of people have been electrocuted, and that's in homage to the Emperor in Return of the Jedi.
Ah, interesting. Okay, I didn't even realize that until just now.
That's why I went to uni.
Okay. No, yeah, I agree with you. It was the only part where, because I didn't mind him in the movie. I quite liked Professor Hulk, but it was just like, oh, this was supposed to be like a 3-movie arc, and it was just to kind of like introduce him like that. I was like,
yeah.
Why wouldn't that be a bigger deal? Like, why?
He very much became like Basil Exposition as well. Like that, it was a very funny scene where they're trying to explain like time travel, and Rhodey and Scott are just waffling off the names of films about time travel, Terminator and Land Before Time, and it's really good. But then also when he has that scene with the Ancient One, now this is where it gets interesting, guys. This is where it gets really interesting. That means that they've restarted everything. But we'll come back to it when we get to the end of the film. But don't let me forget to tell you about why that's really important.
Okay. What do you think about the decision to go with Black Widow dying as opposed to the character?
Yeah. So there's two reasons why both of those characters actually need to be killed off, and both of them are actually to do with the powers that the actors got. So let's put it this way, right? Let's say they decided not to kill off Tony Stark, but they have an argument, he wants too much money, and they go, no, we're going to recast Tony Stark, right? It doesn't matter who you could get, it doesn't matter. Because every single person, myself, yourself, everybody watching this video would go, yeah, but he's not Robert Downey Jr., is he? You can't help it. It's a bit like Deadpool 2 is a really good film, but it's not as good as Deadpool because that's just how your mind works. Yeah. And it's exactly the same thing. Now, Scarlett Johansson should be one of the biggest film and TV stars in the world, and to some extent she is. Does she want to do action movies? Does she want to become the female version of Bruce Willis? I hope not, because she's far too good for it as an actress. It's very much like Jennifer Lawrence. Like, we already know that in the X-Men movie, Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique is going to be killed off because you don't want to get typecast as this kind of thing. So what I'm interested in, and we're going to find out when they go to San Diego in August at the Comic-Con, there was loads and loads of chat that they were going to do a Black Widow prequel.
Yeah.
Now,
it's all but confirmed, isn't it?
This is the thing, but was it all smoke and mirrors so that people wouldn't have thought that Black Widow was going to be killed off?
Gosh, yeah, I didn't think about it like that. Yeah.
See? Clever, aren't they? But the other side of that coin is, I would fucking love Marvel to make a spy movie. I would love for them to bring her back one more time and go on, Scarlett, do some James Bond shit. Do some Jason Bourne shit. I would fucking love that. I think that would be amazing. Now, I sit here hoping and praying that they're still going to do that.
Would you mind if it's a prequel thing? If they
wouldn't mind, as long as they don't recast her.
Yeah.
It's Scarlet or nobody. There was this weird story going around about Emma Watson.
Yeah,
I was like, why would you do that? Can you not get someone that can act first? Jesus Christ. There's so many other people that could do it. If you want to do her as a young woman, that's fine, right? But Emma Watson is about 4 years younger than Scarlett. So you might as well just have Scarlett do it. Right?
Sure.
You've also seen time and again over the last 5 years how good they are when they do the face stuff. Like Samuel L. Jackson looked legitimately like he was 40 years old during Captain Marvel. Until they started asking him to do running, like running down halls and shit, and then all of a sudden it's look like a fucking
true. Very true.
I hope that that's one of the things that they do. That they do bring Black Widow back, even if it is like a prequel, because it fits Disney's MO at the moment. And I know loads of people get really upset about, oh, you're forcing women down our throats, or you're forcing black action heroes down our throats. Like, yeah, because I'm bored.
Exactly.
Give me something different.
Yeah.
You know, and Scarlett copped so much flack for Ghost in the Shell. And some of it legitimately was valid, right? However, every time I ask somebody, okay, who would you have cast to play the Major? And they say like Boon Day from Sense8. I go, okay, well, she's Korean. Okay, who else? Gemma Chan. She was in Captain Marvel. Yeah, she's American Chinese. So give me a Japanese.
She's English Chinese. She's English.
Yeah, because you're just going to make if your argument is a white person shouldn't play it, that's valid. But if your response is when I say okay, who, right? Then you go a Korean person or a Chinese person. That's just as bad. It's a wider society issue. It's a wider issue about the industry that we don't have enough Asian people, which is why Crazy Rich Asians is actually a really fucking important film from the last year.
Good film as well, actually.
Yeah, and it's funny as fuck. It really was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they bring Black Widow back, that's great. But if you ever had to bring either of those characters back and they were played by somebody else, it's just not going to happen. People just aren't going to accept it. Principally because of the caliber and quality of their performances over the course of the last 10 years, but also because your brain just won't allow it. Your brain will not allow it.
What do you think about Fat 4?
Oh, I loved it. Oh, mate, it's something like... Yes, bro. Yeah, now, see, even fat people are being represented now. Fat superhero. Yes.
Oh shit.
So I'll take you back to Avengers Infinity War, and the big man sat there having a chat with Rocket, and he says, "What else have I got left to lose?"
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, they've done Thor
Brilliant.
perfectly since Ragnarok.
Oh,
Since Ragnarok, they've done him perfectly.
yeah, it's so like we could be here all night, but there's this thing that happened at Marvel in 2015 during Civil War. And during Civil War's pre-production, they wanted Thor and Hulk, but they wouldn't. The budget just wouldn't stretch to it because it's not just paying the actors; it's also that for both those characters, there's an enormous amount of CG, be it the lightning or be it the Hulk. Perhaps that might also be a reason why there's not an enormous amount of Hulk.
Yeah,
that might be that's a separate issue. But what basically happened was that Kevin Feige eventually, after that film, was given carte blanche. He was given, because they'd made so much money, he was able to say to them, if I want something, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, after that film, everything starts changing. You start getting really fucking badass bad guys. Yeah. You start seeing loads and loads of character growth throughout all of it. You even see stuff like the standard and the quality of the music improves massively from being very sort of standard. And again, Ragnarok's theme soundtrack is amazing from Mark Mothersbaugh. The soundtrack to Black Panther is amazing, absolutely amazing. I didn't really like Kendrick Lamar, and now I'm actually quite a big fan of his principally because of that soundtrack. Yeah. All these things started to happen because Kevin Feige won an argument. From there, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo sat down with him and going, right, what can we do? Now, you may not know that they're not actually allowed to make a Hulk film.
Because Universal or something like that.
Which is why Thaddeus Ross is the Secretary of State. He is not General Thunderbolt Ross.
I see. Yeah.
Very careful. But it's also why we haven't seen Jennifer Walters yet. And please God, let us have Jennifer Walters. She's one of, honestly, Jen Walters, She-Hulk, is one of the best characters, the very best characters in all of Marvel Comics. Unquestionably. She's awesome. So that's why Ragnarok is because it's an amalgamation of 3 stories, as most people know, with World War Hulk, and it goes and Planet Hulk and Ragnarok and all these and it's all sort of conjoined together. To do that itself is really, really difficult, and to do it as well as they did is absolutely amazing, which is why Ragnarok for me is still one of the very best Marvel movies. What they've been able to do since then is slowly tilt go this way. They're just moving forward, but they're doing it very slowly, because if you do something enormously quickly, the audience doesn't like it, and they know this from experience. So what they've done there with Thor is his character growth, his story is absolutely fantastic. You go from being like the arrogant prince to a man in love, to
a man in pain,
a man in anguish and fear for when he starts to take on his responsibilities, when he falls in love with Jane. All of a sudden, now he has something to fight for. So when we get to Ragnarok, now he knows his duties and his responsibilities, and he has to take those on. And because he's hung out, because he's become friends with Iron Man and Cap, and now he's got his own little niche. Like, all of a sudden, he's Captain Banter, and he's fantastic, and he's able to play it off really, really well. And what doesn't surprise me is that Hemsworth is a really, really talented actor. Now, you might have seen the Ghostbusters remake thing. He was the best thing in it by miles. Well, he does this thing where he does that thing. I don't know. You might know, like, he goes, "Yeah, I wear glasses to make myself look smarter." He goes, "Haven't even got any lenses in it." And puts his finger right through the glass. It's just like, he's got amazing comic timing.
Yeah.
He's obviously naturally funny.
Yeah.
But it's that thing like the stuff with Chris Pratt, the beats when they're going against one another in comedy is
but speaking
really hard to do.
Are you looking forward to the Guardians' third film or what? With
exactly now we are, aren't we?
Flipping heck.
For Thor to be able to,
that'd be amazing.
Yeah, for Thor to do that thing, and it's like little things like Tony Stark calls him Lebowski, and you're like, fucking hell, it is. He looks like fucking Lebowski. He looks like Jeffrey Lebowski. He absolutely nailed it. But it was also the thing where he was the stuff with his mum with Frigga, because he's always been a character that needs guidance. He always needed like his father, or even Heimdall, or his mother, you know, or Jane, or Eric Selvig. He always needed somebody there with him, not necessarily to hold his hand, but just point him in the right direction, you know? And that's what's been great. And that Valkyrie's that as well, you know? I fucking love Valkyrie. Oh my God. Tessa Thompson's...
She's such a good actress, Tessa. I'll give her...
She can rule the world, that girl, if she wants to, honestly. Yeah.
I mean, she's gone from Westworld to being in Creed to this, and all three are really different roles.
She's really good in Creed and Creed 2 as well, man.
Yeah.
She's really, really good.
She's so good.
Have you seen what's the film she did last year? Sorry to Bother You? Where she played mate, dude, you'll love that. Listen, that's for another day. Let's move on. But that film's wicked. That's right up your street. All right,
let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. Captain America and the Hammer. Now, I know. See, now a lot of people are very split on this. Like, what? How can Captain America be able to control the hammer? I don't understand. And for me, my theory, and I want to see if you agree with this. My theory is, it all started from Age of Ultron, where Captain America was the closest person to moving the hammer, right? He wasn't able to do it because he wasn't worthy at the time. My belief was because he kept the secret that he knew who killed Tony's parents to himself, and that's why he wasn't worthy. Then when he revealed that to Tony, he became worthy, and that was when Thor, who, by the way, I need a woman that looks at me the way Thor looked at Captain America when the hammer.
Oh my God, baby girl!
Listen, he was so happy. He was like, "Yes, I knew it."
He was like, "Oh, that was the most homoerotic moment so far in the MCU." He was like, he just looked at him and he goes like, "I knew it," and it's like, "I want to kiss you so bad right now."
But for me, I loved it. It was the first time I genuinely loved a moment from Captain America kicking somebody's ass. He was like, "Yes, boy."
Well, yeah, like, I think you're right, Chick. Like, it's this thing. You're absolutely right. Where, like, this is the thing of the whole thing of the film. Is like, there's so far the count is 209 Easter eggs, and in amongst them are a huge amount of callbacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you remember from the first Thor film, when he loses the armor and he loses the hammer, and Odin casts the Mjolnir out, and he says, "Whoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor."
Yeah.
Should he be worthy?
Yeah.
And that's the critical line. And again, like there's loads of really great comic book stuff where they can do that, where it's stuff like the Uru armor and the worthy are given like a special armor that's built for them by Odin, so they can battle. I can't remember who off the top of my head, but yeah, it was wicked, absolutely wicked. It's an amazing moment. It's just like, oh,
I loved it. I loved it. I have to say, I hate going to see any movie when the cinema is full, because you get kids and babies crying and people like making stupid comments that you don't need to. But everyone was so engaged in this movie, and they kind of cheered when they should have. They screamed when they should have. I heard a couple of people crying when you thought, flipping heck, what is going on? And literally at that moment where he got the hammer everybody was like, yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
there was
screamed
people
and
started.
congratulations.
Like,
Oh,
so
it
I
was
went.
amazing.
I went to the midnight screening, and it was a double bill. So I'd watched Infinity War just before it, and that gave me a huge advantage because everything was really, really fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
But it was we were in a full house. It was literally a full house, and people started clapping. And that's like, if you're watching this and you're not from the UK, we don't do that.
Oh,
We don't, mate. We don't clap. We don't clap. We don't get into it like a lot. I know the Americans and the Canadians get into it big style.
yeah, 100% agree.
But yeah, people were going bonks, mate. Utterly bonks. And quite rightly so, because I was sat there like, it's that thing where the euphoria and the goosebumps get going on your arms. He's like, oh my God, what are they doing? Yeah. Everything's paying off.
Yeah.
Everything's paying off. It was amazing. It was such an amazing feeling. I was talking to my friend about it the other day, and she was asking me, how was it? Like, tried to describe the film, and it was like, the whole film experience for me was like, you know, when you give somebody a Christmas present or a birthday present and they have no idea what they're getting, and you surprise them, and they open it and their face is just an absolute picture.
Yeah.
They're so happy. Yeah. And you get that really good feeling in your tummy. That's how this film made me feel.
Yeah, it was so satisfying because I think the way I compared it, and I know I had a really interesting reaction actually to people who saw my review yesterday, because I think that, and I still think this now, I think that Infinity War was a better paced movie.
Yeah, I heard you when you said this.
But I don't think by any means that EndGame was horribly paced. It was just paced in a different way, in the sense that it was a slow but gradual build.
You're building to a crescendo.
The payoff was so satisfying.
Exactly right. Listen,
it was so satisfying.
So the Russo brothers are if you don't know and you're watching this, you may know this, you may not, right? So the Russo brothers got their start in TV. So they did Arrested Development and Community and things like that. Now, when you're trying to edit television shows like that, where it must be 23 minutes long, it must be 23 minutes, because obviously in the US, bits is really, really important. They cultivated this thing that they call frame fucking, right?
Okay.
Now, frame fucking is basically where they will literally go into every cut point, every time there's a cut, and they will shear off millimeters and millimeters of seconds of the film, right? And then they'll go back and watch it, and it's all about pace and tempo of your film. Now, what is absolutely astonishing about Infinity War, and I fully agree with you, is the way that it's been edited. There are literally no wasted frames in that film. Everything that's there is there for the purpose of the story.
Yeah,
Thanos is the antagonist and the protagonist. He's the hero and the villain of that film.
Yeah.
It becomes so important that you see things from his perspective.
Yeah, and they execute that brilliantly.
Really hard to do. Other films, two of the best films I can say to you that are like that, because they have a lot of story to tell and they have to do it on the run. You do it on the run. The best example of all time is the Terminator, the first Terminator film for 1984, where Reese has to explain stuff to Sarah Connor whilst they're running away all of the time, right? So they do it on the run. The other one that's brilliant is Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah.
There's a huge amount of story there. There's a huge amount of things that you have to learn about those characters. And they do it. Exactly. Yeah. That's honestly, it's so hard to do. Now, there's some directors that just can't do that. They just can't do it. It's just not in them. Christopher Nolan's an amazing director, but he can't do that. He might do it one day, but thus far he can't do it.
I can see why you say that. Yeah. I can see why
Kubrick couldn't do it. You know, Tarantino cannot do it. It's just not in them to be able to go, right, if you said, Quentin, you've got to make a 90-minute movie, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it because he's too self-indulgent with lots of the way that he works. What's probably great about having two brothers doing it together is that they're obviously quite in sync, but they'll have a clear narrative structure that they want to follow. What also helps is that Feige's there steering the boat.
Yeah.
We know that they've had trouble in the past. Obviously, Ant-Man's the best example where Edgar Wright walked off the picture.
Which is a shame. I'd have loved to.
Yeah, well, everybody goes, what if?
Yeah.
Myself included. But the thing of it is, like, this is pretty heavy filmmaking stuff that we're talking about now. It's like you're looking at a film where they're different but the same. Yeah. And Endgame has to build towards a crescendo. They do things in Infinity War, like, Thor has that moment and you think, hang on a minute, we're in business here. When he comes down with the Stormbringer and bring me Thanos, it's like, hang on a minute.
That was
it gave us hope.
Yeah.
We have hope.
Yeah.
We might just get out of this yet. And then they take it all away from them.
Yeah.
So you're right about that. What's really good is that first act is actually representative of the 5 stages of grief that we go through when we lose somebody. And it was really important to show what people had lost. That's why that opening scene with Hawkeye is so important. You have to show your audience what we've lost, because if you don't, you won't appreciate what they're fighting for. You have to build empathy, no matter what, whether it's with people like you and me that have watched all these films, or casual film goers that are just going to watch it. If it's not there, you're wasting everybody's time. You're just wasting everybody's time. So that first act's really, really important, and you see, you were talking earlier about Nat, like Black Widow. She's gone from being like the heartless spy, right? When Cap in Avengers, and Cap goes, close it, and Tony's up there and he nearly, she doesn't hesitate. She puts the scepter straight to it. She doesn't hesitate. She's absolutely fucking heartless. She's heartless. We're going to come on to this with Loki in a minute, buddy, in the chat room. Hang on. By the time we get to the end, she's the mother hen. She's everybody's big sister. She's the one that everybody is heartbroken to have lost Nat. Everybody, because she showed them unconditional love in an unconventional way, by just being there and listening to them or leading them down the right path. So when she did die, what
was the person asking in the chat room?
They said Loki from 2012 escaped chick. Right. So let's get into this. When they balls it up, when they're trying to get the Tesseract, Loki picks up the Tesseract and escapes. Now, of course, he has to do this because the new Disney TV show, the Loki TV show. So they had to find a way to bring him back to life. And that's exactly what they've done. So somehow got hold of the Tesseract. Right?
Speaking of the TV show, do you think that they will bring Vision back, going back to the story and downloading Vision?
That seems to be what they're going to do. Yeah, they're going to find a way. Shuri and Wanda are going to find a way to re-download him into a new body.
Yeah,
which is great because he's a really, really good character.
Yeah. I like what's his name that plays him?
Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany. That's the
classic British actor.
Yeah,
really, really talented. So that's obviously that's why they've done that with the Tesseract. It is interesting that they've not actually got rid of any of the stones.
No, it isn't. They've just put them back conveniently,
which is okay because what they do is like. So do you know what a MacGuffin is?
Yeah, it's something that the always revolving around.
It's something that when they're going to move on into the next phase, it gives the next bad guy something to chase, right? And I expect it to be Doctor Doom because Doctor Doom's just an amazing character, and the Russo brothers said in an interview that they're not coming back unless they do Secret Wars. So hang on a minute, I don't know. Have I got it? No, that's Secret Invasion. Hang on a minute. Okay. Right, so this is Fantastic Four. It's the first collection from Jonathan Hickman. He has completely rewritten the way that we perceive the Fantastic Four. So the first 2 films were, not good, let's be honest, right? And then they did another film and it was even worse.
It was actually, it made me appreciate the first film.
Yeah, the first film was really good. So compared to the third one. But they are really, really important characters. But principally, one of the reasons why they bought Fox is because they want better villains, right? They want people like Doctor Doom. They want people like Kang. They want some of the villains from the X-Men universe that they haven't even touched.
They'll bring back Numadu. I can't say it.
Domadu.
Strange.
Yeah.
They'll bring back him.
Yeah. That's
Galactus maybe as well, and
yeah,
I think these will be the faithful.
They want Silver Surfer desperately. Yeah. If we're moving into a more cosmic realm, and they're going to be doing more spacey stuff, which is fine as far as I'm concerned, then obviously they need the Silver Surfer, and they know that. So, but what it does, it means like you could see a character like Doctor Doom wanting the Infinity Stones and going, I'm a god and I could wield the Infinity Gauntlet, and we go all around the circles again. But are they actually going to do it that way? Probably not, because why would you redo it? You need to move on and do something different. You could do an Infinity Watch like they did with Adam Warlock. You could do an Infinity Sword or something, or an Infinity Staff, and do something differently. There's also the things that they could do, but that's obviously like where they're moving in the future, which is why everything's just deliberately wrapped up in such a neat and tidy bow.
So, what was your favorite moment of the movie? Your most spine-tingling moment of the movie?
It probably is Mjolnir and Avengers Assemble.
It's Avengers Assemble for me. I'm not gonna lie, legitimately, I almost whined out loud, and I was like,
there was a little
pull it off, man. You're a grown man.
Because it was in a culmination of things as well. Because there's a moment just before it where here he is, he's alone. There's nobody left. It's me versus the world. It's Steve versus the world.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Cap, can you hear me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was sat next to my friend Brent. And I grabbed his leg again, and I'm just going, say it. Say it. Say it. I threw gritted teeth, trying not to upset people around me. And he says, Sam says, on your left. Obviously, here we go. And then when he pulled the hammer towards him, and like,
towards you was Avengers.
So giddy.
I was such a giddy.
I
just realized that right now.
Oh, mate, it was wonderful. That's as good as a bit of cinema as you'll see.
Yeah,
it really is, because it's a payoff. It's the payoff of not just Cap, but it's the payoff for Bucky. It's the payoff for Sam as a collective.
It's one of the most epic third acts to a film I have ever seen,
and it works.
In the movie.
It works,
and fair play to the Russos for that, because that must have been a bitch to direct. That must have been. Honestly,
the majority of that's CGI, isn't it? So a lot of stuff where. So what they do is, because Marvel work in a very different way to most things, everything is pre-vised out before they even start production. What's going to happen more and more is they spend more and more time in pre-production, right? So they pre-vis absolutely everything, so they know exactly what it is that they want. Did you ever see the video of James Gunn and he's dancing around, right? And that is all used for when Groot's dancing in Guardians 2, right?
Yeah.
And they do all of this pre-vis. They know exactly what it is that they want. Now, what they tend to do is they overdo it, and then they'll shear down for what they want. Again, that's what we were talking about before with Hulk and the Hulkbuster and stuff like that. So they'll have known exactly what it is. And somebody said to me, that's just like the end of Ready Player One. And I said, yeah, you're probably right, but done much, much better. Because what they do is, what the Russos do and what Marvel do is they put so much trust and faith in 3 or 4 really, really good CGI gurus that come and work in conjunction with the directors. So they have like a nice little brains trust They know exactly what it is. And that makes for more nuanced, because those kind of things can be really, really, really messy.
Yeah.
It could just be a mess. And that is not a mess. You even have the thing where all the girls lead through to take the charge of the gauntlet. The gauntlet's there like the MacGuffin, where we've got to try and get it over to Scott and Hope. And then when you think that they're going to do it, we get the moment of false hope again, and Thanos smashes it with his bladey, knifey Darth Maul thing. And it's like, oh.
Well, funny enough, so coming up to the girls part, I want to ask you a question. But yeah, I thought the last act, I mean, if anyone is watching, should I bother watching this movie? Assuming you've watched Infinity War, definitely go. Just for the last act alone, it will be the most satisfying. Because much like you said, there was a lot about that last act that shouldn't have worked. In fact, even the way we're describing it, it should be cheesy. It should be something that's cringing.
No, but it's not, because we're already because they've worked so hard to earn our care, due care and attention, our interest, our empathy in these characters in the first and the second act. That when we do get a payoff, we get what we want and we'll take it. Because like this is it. This is it. We're on. We're on.
There's only one part of that I didn't like, and this is the part I was coming to. The I am a woman, I am strong bit. Where it was like, no, I don't know how you're going to get through there, and all the women just suddenly arrive. Like, don't worry, we've got this.
Some people,
okay.
There's some people that don't like that, and I don't want to call them misogynists. I'm not saying that they are. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fair enough, right? But women in comic books play an enormous role.
True.
And they always have.
True.
Right? So you can't dismiss that. We have seen nothing yet of Wanda Maximoff.
I was going to say, Scarlet Witch. Wanda had a badass moment, to be fair. She had a badass moment in that.
Wanda is mad OP.
Yeah.
Crazy OP.
Yeah.
What they've done so far with Carol Danvers, super OP.
Yeah.
She's, wow, so much power. Amazing. But it's also stuff like, as I said to you before, I absolutely love Valkyrie. I love Valkyrie so much. She arrives on the horse, and it's like, that's her. That's a visual representation of her putting all of her demons to bed. That I will get back on the horse and I will ride and I will fight. I found something that I want to fight for again. Right now, whether that's surrounded by other women or not, as far as I'm concerned, is irrelevant. It's a really great visual that works really, really well.
True.
You cannot underestimate how important somebody like Gamora is. And again, we've seen nothing of what Gamora can do. She literally is.
Speaking of which, she went missing, didn't she? Which I actually quite liked, because of why would she hang around with the Guardians? She would take off in that situation. And
is that yeah, but is that her? Is that Peter's Gamora? Shall we put it that way?
Okay.
Because this was my thing, right? Was do you put yourself? They're going down the route that I thought they were going to go down. Do you put yourself in a situation where Peter is back, but he thinks he's lost her for forever? Yeah. We, as we understand it, Nat has replaced Gamora inside the Soul Stone. Yeah, right. As we understand it.
Okay.
Right? So she's out there somewhere, right? So Guardians of the Galaxy, by and large, is basically going to be the search for Gamora.
Yeah.
So, but if Gamora is out there somewhere, will she have any memory of what she's gone through? Yeah. I thought that when they did the snap, they should have shown Gamora being dusted, because that way you've got a definitive thing to say there's another Gamora out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Because that Gamora, as far as Tony was concerned, was evil and didn't know, and she's just gone anyway when he's giving it the old snapperoo, right? So that's going to make a really, really good film. But we have seen nothing of Gamora yet.
Yeah.
Nothing. We've seen more of Nebula in the last 3 films than we have of Gamora.
Yeah, Nebula had a lot of scenes in this movie, I must admit.
Big part of the film. And quite rightly so.
2014 Nebula and present day Nebula. Blimey, she worked hard for her checks in this
Karen's
movie.
a great actress. Karen Gillan's a great actress. She really, really is. Like, there's this thing where I really hope she doesn't get pigeonholed as the tall, pretty girl that can jump and dance and fight, because there's so much more to her than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I personally didn't have any issue at all with that scene. I can see why some people would do, but I don't agree, because it doesn't make me better. It's just difference of opinion. It's because, as I said to you, I've told you already this evening, like, She-Hulk is one of my favorite characters.
Mm.
You know, one of my favorite characters. I can't wait for her to be in it. I absolutely love Carol Danvers. I think she's amazing. I love Black Widow. You know, I care about those characters far more than I do Thor or Cap or even Iron Man. Care about those 3 girls far more personally. But that's because, you know, I'm invested, right? That doesn't make me better than you. It doesn't mean that my opinion's any better or anything, but it means that those are the things that I want to see. Now, you may not want to see that. That's fair enough, right? You can't please all of the people all the time, can you? You know? It's okay. But
yeah, 100% agree.
The great thing about that final scene as well is, as you said, they consistently showed you that Thanos is a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to him, because at one point he was fucking up Captain Marvel, he was fucking up Thor, he was fucking up Thor. He refused to go down without swinging.
When he pulled the Power Stone out of the gauntlet and smashed Carol with it, I was like, oh, that's such good writing. That's just such good writing. That's so good. And that's like, when you're putting the set pieces together and you're making them work, that's so good, man. That's so good.
But I think that was what the Russos did that was so good about this movie generally, because I think he made everybody had some kind of badass moment. And that is pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
Really is hard to do.
Everybody gets a hero moment.
Yeah.
Hero moment. You know, and that's hard to do. Yeah, because again, this is the epic scale of the film. This is the epic scale of all these characters that we've grown to know and love over the last 10 years. Is that you can't say that none of them. You can't go, well, he doesn't deserve one.
Yeah.
Rhodey doesn't deserve one. Fuck off.
Yeah.
He does. You know, you all do. And that's where it gets really, really hard. Will we see one as gargantuan as this? Will we see something as gargantuan as this again? I don't know. And part of me doesn't want it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you in that. I was going to ask.
I do not want to see a battle for the universe again, because A, you've already done it. 2, it wouldn't mean as much.
Yeah, I think for me, and I guess I can see why people are upset about the movie, because there was something that felt a bit, oh, okay, this is really done. Like I can't, for some reason, see everything in Phase 4 being as good as this, for whatever reason. There was something so final about this movie that made me think, oh, okay, this is it then. But I guess it does bring opportunity to prove people wrong, prove that they can do this again, that they can make Phase 4 just as interesting. And some of the characters that they're thinking about bringing in, like the all-Asian superhero movie that they want to make, which I'm really looking forward to. They're talking about LGBT characters. They're talking about a Black Widow movie, Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. So Shang-Chi, the Master of Kung Fu, is a really, really interesting character. And he's been rewritten reasonably recently in the last 10 years. And yeah, listen, I have absolutely, again, we this is why we were talking about what we were talking about with Scarlett earlier. Like, we need more Asian stars. We need more Asian stars. We just do, because it needs to be more representation. We're very, very blessed with Black Panther that literally every single actor in that film is fucking boss. Every single person in that film is a truly spectacular actor. Every single one of them, from Chadwick all the way through to Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett, for fuck's sake, I was going to say.
Winston Duke can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
He's a really talented actor.
Even what's her name? The girl that plays Shuri, very good actress.
She's awesome.
Very good actress. They're all strong.
Was she in Top Boy? I think she was in Top Boy.
I think so, yeah.
She was fucking awesome in that, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's, just before we wrap things up, let's talk about Cap and the end scene.
So this is what I wanted to talk to you about earlier.
It gets really old. So for me, again, this is another one that splits opinion, and I think more for storyline purposes. They were like, well, hold on, wait a minute. Doesn't him staying in the past upset everything? Right. I kind of, except for me, I actually thought you had to end it that way. You had to end it with Cap being with a version of Peggy. And yeah, it does create a couple of plot holes there and there where you're like, hey, but I actually liked the ending. And also the other question I wanted to ask you is, what do you think about not Bucky, which I thought he was going to go with, but Sam Wilson being the new Captain America?
Yeah, I was always in favor of it being Sam. Again, that's something where, excuse me, somebody's being terribly rude and obnoxious by sending me messages while I'm in the midst of doing this. So, in the comic books, it is Sam that gets the shield. Okay, so I haven't got a problem with I have absolutely no problem with it being a black Captain America. Back in about 2006, if you said to me, who do you cast as Captain America? I would have said Will Smith.
Fair enough.
Right? I probably would have said Will Smith, right? So it's not the end of the world as far as I'm concerned in any respect at all, right? So, but yeah, I was of the opinion that no, you can't have Cap go back and have a happy life, right? You can't, because then they don't form Shield, and if they don't form Shield, then Arlen Zola doesn't get folded in, and then we don't get Hydra again, and then we don't get Bucky again, and all these things. All the bad stuff has to happen for the good stuff to happen.
Yeah.
However, I take you back again. I said to you earlier on,
to remind you of the.
So when Bruce is talking with the Ancient One, and he says, "We'll bring the stones back, because otherwise we're going to send off into different tangents, right, and different multiverses." Now, Cap has done that. He has returned the stones, but in doing so, and by staying there, he has reset the universe. So when they want to introduce the X-Men and mutants, or Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four, they can do whatever they want now, because they have reset the universe by him deciding to do that thing and have a life with Peggy, and then return and tell them what he did. They have reset the universe, right? So this is one of the things that people have just missed, right? That's okay, because most people are not on. No disrespect, like, I've got a master's degree. I know what I'm on about when it comes to stuff like this, right? Because they've made such a point of mentioning time travel and how it works to the audience, they did that deliberately, because when they move into phase 4 or even phase 5, when we're probably going to see the X-Men, he's reset everything by doing what he did, right? Right. He reset everything. So all those universes work. He's replaced them. All those universes work. But by doing what they did, they've changed everything. Okay? We haven't seen any change yet, but we will. All right? And that's the whole point of the end of the Infinity Saga, We're moving on to our next saga, whatever it's going to be. Another 10 years worth of films. Wonderful. But what he's done is that decision allows them to say, right, mutants, because he's changed things.
Yeah.
Reset.
Yeah. I suppose so. And they needed to do something. By the way, I didn't stick around, but I heard that there was a post-credit scene after people in the cinema were telling me there wasn't, apparently.
Right at the very death of the film, there's no scene. But it was literally just a credit scene where like a photo comes up and the actor signs the photo of themselves. Like, it wasn't anything particularly, like, it wasn't literally like a cutscene to like Hope Van Dyne and Ant-Man or anything like that. It wasn't. Right. So whatever happens next, I'm imagining it's probably going to be Black Panther 2 that's going to get announced. Probably going to be released.
Do you think the Young Avengers film will be a film or a TV show?
The TV show, the TV shows are going to be coming Thursday. They reckon. So we know we're getting Loki. We're getting Falcon and
Bucky.
Falcon and Bucky, and we're getting something that at the moment that's tentatively called WandaVision. With Wanda's going to bring Vision back, and as far as I'm concerned, that's okay, because I wouldn't be interested in seeing an actual film about any of those characters.
Yeah, I agree.
The things to remember as well, and we're coming into a wider context here. So, loads of people, you and I included, were really upset that they've cancelled the Netflix Marvel shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand why they've done it, and I'm sad just like you. But what people don't realise is how expensive those shows were.
So yeah, they were. Yeah,
right?
The set pieces alone.
Each series on average costs $75 million. Now that is the kind of money you spend on a film, right? That is a lot of money. So that's why they've changed it. Now that doesn't mean that we're not going to get Daredevil again.
I think Daredevil and what's his name will come back.
Dude, Matt Murdock's such a good character.
Daredevil and the Punisher will come back onto Disney.
Yeah. Hey, I think they'll all come back.
I think they may try and give what's it called another go.
Now
the Defenders. If they can do that right,
mate, that should have been a film. That should not have been a 6-part miniseries.
I agree with that, though. Yes.
Listen,
just fix their pacing problems. That's all I want them to do. Just fix that, dude. Because I like Luke Cage, but fuck me, it is a slog sitting through it. It is.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes. Man. Listen, we're missing the point though. Now that they're not on Netflix, right? And what generally happens is when you cancel a show, something like that, they give you like what is essentially like a no compete clause, where you might have to go 18 months and then you can renegotiate, and you might want to take your show to Amazon Prime, or you might want to take it to Hulu, or whatever it is. Yeah. What the point that people have missed since they have cancelled those shows on Netflix is now you can put them in the films.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man gets fucked up, whatever it's called, right?
Yeah.
Spider-Man gets in trouble and he needs a lawyer.
Yeah, true. Because let's be real here. At some point, he's going to have to face the Sinister Six. They've not done that yet in these films, but they keep teasing it. So in every single time that they've done Spider-Man, they've always teased this idea of Sinister Six, but they've never gone down that direction. You would think for them to do that, they've got to bring some kind of neighborhood superhero, surely.
Well, like, you know, the first thing you think of is probably somebody like Felicia Hardy, Black Cat, and then think about Jess, Spider-Woman, or you even bring in Spider-Gwen from a different dimension or something like that. But
or even Jessica Jones, really? Why not?
Exactly, dude. All I want to see is this. I want to see Jessica Jones and Luke Cage bang one more time and get that girl pregnant.
Go Go on, Black, and get her pregnant.
Jess pregnant. Now, for some of the listeners and the viewers that don't know this, right? So, in the comic books, Jess and Luke have a little girl called Danielle, named after Danny Rand, and she becomes Captain America. And she's got unbreakable skin. She's got all Luke's powers and all Jess's powers. And she is awesome.
Gosh, even I didn't know that.
Right? Black female Captain America. Danielle Cage. Mate. That's somewhere you don't go there now. You don't go there for another 15 years. That's something you go when, so.
Or maybe even Young Avengers. Maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with the Young Avengers. That was one of the things that I wanted to do was, so, again, Fantastic Four, they have, I keep referencing this book, sorry. Buy it, it's really good. The Fantastic Foundation, right? Do you know what that is? The Fantastic Foundation is basically like a think group which Reed Richards puts together for his two kids, Franklin and Val. Now, if you're going to bring Franklin and Val in, bring them in as teenagers, start the Fantastic Foundation, right? And then you could bring somebody in like Amadeus Chow, who takes over as Hulk. You could bring in somebody like Riri Williams, who becomes Ironheart, like a female version of Iron Man. You could have Peter Parker join the foundation, right? Because it's all about like brilliant brains and brilliant minds and stuff like that. You could even have Cassie Lang do it. You have Cassie join the foundation. She's going to be stature by the looks of it, after having seen that. Oh, she was only in it for seconds, wasn't she? The girl from 13 Reasons Why
I don't watch none of that stuff. I'll be honest. But I know who you talk about, the teenage Cassie.
Yeah.
And also they'll bring in
like
Hawkeye's daughter, won't they? As well. Yeah.
Well, it's not going to be Hawkeye's daughter because it's.
Oh no, it's not, is it?
Kate Bishop is.
No, that's Kate Bishop. Yeah.
So it's one of them where, like, mate, you have to. I think there's so much scope. They can do so much with whatever they want to do. They can take it a completely different way. But it's also stuff like we haven't even touched the surface on the stuff that's in Doctor Strange about multiverses, and like Doctor Strange can just decide to go like, yeah, I'm going to go and get Danielle Cage from 20 years in the future and bring her here now. You can just do that if you wanted to, because he just can. Like, that's exactly what he wants to do. So we'll see what happens in that respect. So because it does, as I said, it leaves it with a very nice tight bow. We can go wherever we want with it from here. They won't disappoint because Feige, like, my only concern is whether or not Kevin Feige gets run over by a car one day. Do you know what I mean? Now that worries me. That keeps me up nights.
Oh no. Well, all right. In terms of the film, going back to the film, let's wrap it up. What was your overall summary and your grade of the film?
It's a solid A. It's not quite an A plus, but it's an A. It's a comfortable 5-star film.
Yeah.
It's hugely satisfying. It's wildly epic. It's incredibly funny. It's gentle and sincere. It's honest, and it reflects everything they've done to build the genre of superhero movies over the last 15, 20 years. Right? I hope that one day in the future, people talk about this film in the same breath as things like Jurassic Park and Jaws and E.T. It's really important. It's an important film. That's the best thing I can say about it. It's going to make huge amounts of money, and that's great. I'm not a Disney shareholder, so I don't fucking care. I'm not going to see any of that money, am I? Right? But it's an important film because you've set a groundwork for everything that comes. This is something that my father and I were talking about in the car earlier. I was bringing him home from church, and he said, "Did you go and watch the film again?" I went, "Yeah, it was fucking amazing, Dad." He went, "I don't get it." He said, "Is it like James Bond?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, the first James Bond film came out when I was a kid, Doctor No, and now look at it. So Doctor No and James Bond created the spy genre of films. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Iron Man created the genre, because the genre was probably created by the X-Men movies. But look at where we've come. Yeah?
Yeah.
Look at where we've come. This is our Nessun Dorma. This is our Nessun Dorma, you know?
Do you know what it is? And this is, I think you're right in everything you're saying. And I think these are fair comparisons. But actually, what I actually think this is it's our Empire Strike Back.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it might even be our Return of the Jedi with a much, much better payoff.
It's a film where I can get it. If you've tuned into this, obviously there's a lot of Arsenal fans that are subscribed to me that will look at this and think,
shout out to 17 people watching live, by the way.
There you go. But there'll be a lot of people that will tune into this and be like, why are you reviewing this movie? Like, what's the big deal? Oh, Marvel have dropped another movie. And I get it if you don't get it, because I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I don't get it. I'll be honest. I don't. I get it, but I don't get it. You know what I'm saying?
You get it. You understand, but you don't care.
Yeah. That's pretty much me, right? Whereas with this, because I was invested from day one, and I wasn't like Robby. I didn't have the comics necessarily at home or anything. I just watched it because I quite like Robby Downey Jr., quite honestly, in everything I'd watched of him previously. Even as a drunk, I always thought he was a decent actor. So I thought, let me give Iron Man a try. And I loved Iron Man. I thought, all right, let's stick around and see what this is. So I kept watching Marvel films and I kept building it up, and I loved it. And so for me to watch 11 years later, 22 movies later, and to watch a movie that has such an epic, satisfying conclusion, well acted, it was a well-rounded film. I gave it an A- yesterday. I was dumb as fuck. It was an A movie, 5-star, as Robby says. It was just a fantastic watch, and I think even if you're a little bit, I'm not sure if I'm going to see it, go and see it. Just go and see it. I think it's such a good movie.
Honestly, even if you're not, I've seen it twice. So I went.
Me too. I went twice. It's only been out since Thursday.
I was sad that I watched it. I watched it when it came out, midnight screening, and the atmosphere in the building was mental. It was great. And then last night, it was a lot more sort of mellow and chilled about 10 o'clock when I watched it.
Yeah.
And I kept getting messages, so I was sort of dipping in and out, and I had to go and buy a friend some beers at Weatherspoons because they were out having a drink. And but what I was able to do was I was able to look at it from a different point of view. And as I said to you on Twitter the other day, Wednesday night when I watched Infinity War was the 8th time that I'd seen the film on the big screen. Now, I'm not saying for you to go and watch this film 8 times. But I'm telling you, there's going to be a time this summer. There'll be a time this summer where you're going to want to go to the cinema, and there's not going to be anything on that you want to watch. You might not want to watch Aladdin. You might not want to watch Lion King. You might not want to watch John Wick. You probably will, but
damn right you will.
It'll get to like the end of the summer in August, and there won't be anything on that you like the look of, and you're like, what shall I watch? And you're going to go to yourself, Robby said I should watch it again. Watch it again. You'll see a different film. You'll see a different film. I see a different film every time I watch it. And I'll go in and watch it again probably some point next week because Liverpool are playing. I'm doing a thing, Chris. Chat room. For those of you that are watching and are football fans, last year I did not watch Liverpool in the European Cup at all. And they got all the way to the final. And then I watched the final.
Okay.
I ain't doing that this year, baby. I've not watched one game. I've not watched one game. One game. I've watched them after the fact, afterwards, and I'm able to watch it from a different point of view without the anxiety, without the neuroses going through my mind, without the goosebumps or the passion, and I know what I'm going to see.
I can't do it. I could not do that with Arsenal.
That's
I should.
That's the
It's the
discipline.
healthier way of doing it.
Yeah,
It is the healthier way,
bro. That's the discipline. But all I'm saying to you is, like, I refer to the film. If you are able to watch this film again and you look at it from a different standpoint and you see it, you will see a different film. I'll go in and watch it next week and I'll be just listening to the film. I'll be focusing on the soundtrack. I'll be focusing on the Foley work and stuff like that. But again, that's me. I've been taught to do things a different way. That's why I went to university and studied film, right? You don't have to do that. That doesn't make me better than you or anything like that. It's just that's what I do because that's what I've been sort of trained to do, okay? But I'll see something different. If you want to hit us up on the Twitter and talk about the movie, you're very, very welcome to. I will talk to anybody about comic book movies. Anybody.
Yeah.
Except pedophiles.
Well, I think that kind of allows us to kind of conclude things nicely there.
Yeah, we had a good one. We were a bit late getting here, but we got there.
We got there. Sorry about that, guys.
That's my fault.
YouTube made this a lot harder for some weird reason. So, yeah. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. Robby, let the people know where they can actually find you to do that.
Yes, you can find me on the Twitters at Robby Richmond, ROBBY Richmond, and you can find me on the Instagram at Robby Does Grams, where
Robby Does Grams. Okay. That's that message you want to give to those kids, right?
Yeah, Robby Does the Grams, isn't it? And I post memes and shit on there, and occasionally when I've had my hair done and my beard fixed and my beard trim, I'll post like a selfie of myself going like, oh, living my best life. Because I'm a dreamboat, obviously.
Of course. Got a semi right now. You could follow me on Twitter at Colossal Chig. You can follow me on Instagram, Guna_Eagle_I1. You guys let me know if you like me continuing to do these movie reviews. I like them. I enjoy them.
Do them anyway. Do them because you fucking enjoy them, bro. We'll do the John Wick one, yeah?
Let's do the John Wick one. Let's do that John Wick one. I'll be honest with you, Robby. I'm probably going to go see EndGame for a third time tomorrow.
Good boy.
I'm probably going to see it again. I'll be honest. I love the movie. But yeah,
I sat there during Infinity War, and I could literally recite. I've seen that film so much, I could literally recite every line of dialogue. Don't judge me.
Oh man!
Thank you very much to everyone in the chat room as well.
Thank you, everybody. I know it's late. Well, for some of you, depending on where you are in the world. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed our spoiler review. Maybe you agree with some of it. Maybe you don't. I think you're right, Robby. I think there's room for everybody on my platform, so to speak.
Definitely.
If you like football, you'll watch the football videos. If you like the movie stuff, you'll watch the movie stuff. If you like the boxing and UFC stuff that me and Ola do, you'll watch that. So these are the things that I love. So come to me, subscribe to me, and I promise there'll be something for at least one of you.
At least one.
At least one of
three.
You. At least one of you. I'm not going to oversell it. At least one of you. So yes. So yeah, do hit that subscribe button. So close to 4,000 now. I can right there. I can touch it. So do hit that subscribe button. I'll be back tomorrow with my other partner in crime, which is Lee Gunner, where we're going to doing a live watch along. The stress that Robby mentioned that he didn't want to put himself through. I'm about to do that tomorrow.
Hey, I've got to look after my hairline.
I know we're at that age where hairline is important now. People are wondering, Chief, when are you going to get your hair cut? I'm like, the barber keeps putting my hairline back. So I'm trying to keep that shit as forward as possible. So yeah. But guys, we're out of here, people. Take care. Peace.
Bye.